Okay, here we go. If you have a question or want me to slow down, tell me. Otherwise, we're rolling. Okay, secant of x sine of x. Secant is 1 over cosine times sine. So sine over cosine is tangent. Okay. Here you change secant into 1 over cosine. Now we got a complex fraction. So I'm going to multiply the top by cosine of x over 1. And then the bottom by cosine of x over 1. So if we distribute, we get cosine over cosine, which is 1 minus cosine squared of x over cosine squared of x. 1 minus cosine squared is sine squared. And that is tangent squared of x equals tangent squared of x. Okay? When you see a minus sign in the denominator and a plus sign in the numerator, what you need to do is multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. So in the numerator, you get 1 plus sine of x. And in the denominator, you get 1 minus sine squared of x. So the numerator is 1 plus sine of x. The denominator is cosine squared of x. And that's what matches the right side. Okay, number 4. And you'll see one like this on the test where it's just a little bit more complicated. Hopefully not too much. So 1 over sine of x minus 1 minus 1 over sine of x plus 1. So when you have a complex fraction multiplied by the denominator of the denominator all the way through, so you get sine of x over 1 minus sine of x minus sine of x over 1 plus sine of x. So then you got to get a common denominator, so multiply this one by 1 plus sine of x, and the second one by 1 minus sine of x. Since these are conjugates that we multiplied by, we get 1 minus sine squared of x as my denominator. My numerator, I get sine of x plus sine squared of x minus sine of x minus sine squared of x. So if I distribute my negative sign through my numerator, sine of x minus sine of x cancels, so I get 2 sine squared of x. 1 minus sine squared is cosine squared of x. So 2 tangent squared of x equals 2 tangent squared of x. So most of the problems on the test will be very, very similar. So instead of maybe a cosecant, it might say a secant or something like that. Okay? So All right. So now factoring. So if we factor, if there's a first term coefficient and it doesn't have a square root, you multiply first times last. You get 6. So it's 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Factors that add up to -7 are these two. So we say 2 sine of x minus 1 and 2 sine of x minus 6. If we divide by 2 and divide by 1, we get 2 sine of x minus 1 and sine of x minus 3. And then to check your answer, you FOIL. To get 2 sine squared of x, outers is minus 6x, inners is minus 1x, which makes minus 7x. Last times last is plus 3. Now, this is just normal factoring with cosine of x, cosine of x. Signs are the same, they're both negative, -3, and -3. If you wanted to write it as cosine of x minus 3 quantity squared, you could also do that. Either answer works. So we have 3 sine of x here, 3 sine of x here, plus and minus, and 2 cotangent of x, and 2 cotangent of x. Difference of squares factoring. Here again, normal factoring. Cosine of x, plus minus 2 and 7. Okay, so that's the factoring. Product, we FOIL here. So we get 12 cosine squared of x. Outers is minus 20 cosine of x. Inners is, or plus 20 cosine of x. Inners is minus 3 cosine of x. Last but last is -5. So it's 12 cosine squared of x plus 17 cosine of x minus 5. The last one, 6 secant of x minus 5 squared is 36 secant squared of x minus 30 secant of x minus 30 secant of x plus 25, which is 36 secant squared of x minus 60 secant of x plus 25. Okay? This test is 2 pages. The first page was sections 3.1 and 3.2. Mainly section 3.2 is all. And the last page is sections 3.3, which is, this is 3.3. 3.4 are these two problems. And 3.5 are the last 4 problems. Okay? So the cosine of 75 is the cosine of 45 plus 30, which is cosine of 45 cosine of 30 minus sine of 45 sine of 30, which is square root of 2 over 2, square root of 3 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, 1/2. So it's square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 all over 4. Tangent 15 is a tangent of 45 minus the tangent of 30, or I don't like that as much as tangent of 60 minus tangent of 45. There we go. All over 1 plus tangent of 60, tangent of 45. Because 15 is 60 minus 45. All right. Tangent of 60 is square root of 3. Tangent of 45 is 1. 1 plus 1 times the square root of 3 is square root of 3. So we can't leave square root of 3 on the bottom, so we multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate of the denominator is 1 minus the square root of 3. So we get square root of 3 minus 3 minus 1 plus the square root of 3 all over 1 minus 3. So it's 2 square root of 3 minus 4 over negative 2, which is negative square root of 3 plus 2. Sine of 15 is the sine of 45 minus 30, which is the sine of 45 cosine of 30 minus cosine of 45 sine of 30, which is square root of 2 over 2, square root of 3 over 2, minus square root of 2 over 2, 1/2. And so it's square root of 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4. Exact same answer as number 11. The tangent of 75, I would use the tangent of 120 minus 45. 120 minus 45 is, in fact, 75. Okay. So it's the tangent of 120 minus the tangent of 45 over 1 plus the tangent of 120 tangent of 45, which is square root of 3 minus 1 over 1 plus the square root of 3. But in both cases, the square root of 3 is negative because at 120 degrees, the tangent is negative square root of 3. So we multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, which is 1 plus the square root of 3. So we get negative square root of 3. Outers is negative 9. Inners is negative 1. Last times last is negative square root of 3. All over, well, not 9. Come on, Mr. Hirschbach, you're smarter than that. It's minus 3 minus 1. There we go. Bottom is 1 minus 3. So you get negative 2 square root of 3 minus 4 over negative 2, which is square root of 3 plus 2. Okay, half angles formula. This is the cosine of 30 over 2, which is, if we use the cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x, it's the cosine squared of, well, cosine of 30 squared. Yeah, cosine squared of 30. Come on. Cosine squared of 30 minus sine squared of 30, which is square root of 3 over 2 squared minus 1/2 squared, which is 3/4 minus 1/4, which is 1/2. That doesn't look right. I wonder if I did something wrong. Cosine of 15 can't be 1/2. All right. Cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. Square that, 3/4, 1/2. Well, let's do it for square root of 3 over 2 squared minus 1. So 2 times square, or 3 over 4 minus 1. 2 times 3/4 is 3/2 minus 1, which is 1/2. Yeah, I guess I did it 2 different ways and got 1/2 both times. So cosine of 15, 1/2. I still don't think that's right. I don't know what I did wrong. Oh, I know what I did wrong. That's totally wrong. I'm using double angle formulas. Okay, try that again. Cosine of 15 degrees is the cosine of 30 degrees over 2, which is the square root of 1 plus the cosine of 30 degrees over 2, which is the square root of 1 plus square root of 3 over 2, which is, if we multiply top and bottom by 2, the square root of 2 plus the square root of 3 all over 4. If we take the square root on the bottom, can't do anything on the top, but that's our final answer. Square root of 2 plus 3 over 2. Tangent of 75. Boy, I can't remember this one. I think it's 1 plus sine of x over cosine of x. Somebody pull out your note card. See if the tangent of x over 2 equals this. Somebody help me out here. Note card. Anybody got your note card? Anybody? Noonan?
I think it's sine over 1 plus cosine.
One of them is sine plus over 1 plus cosine. So is it 1 minus?
The other one is 1 minus cosine over sine.
There we go. That's the one I was looking for. 1 minus cosine of x over sine. You're a lifesaver. All right. So 75 is 150 over 2. So it's 1 minus the cosine of 150 over sine of 150. So it's 1 minus the cosine of 150 is negative square root of 3 over 2. The sine of 150 is 1/2. So if we go plus a positive, it's 1 plus square root of 3 over 2 over 1/2. Then if we multiply top and bottom by 2, it's 2 plus the square root of 3 all over 1. And we just end it with 2 plus the square root of 3. Okay, now to double angle formulas. And I know these. Cosine of 2 times 120 degrees is the cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x, which is cosine of 120 squared minus sine of 120 squared, which is 120 is 1/2 for x squared, negative 1/2 squared. Sine is square root of 3 over 2 squared. So it is 1/4 minus 3/4, which gives us negative 1/2. And the sine of 120 is the sine of 2 times 60, which is 2 sine of x cosine of x, which is 2 sine of 60 cosine of 60, which is 2 square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, which these two cancel, so you get square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so on Monday, you are going to hand in your semester projects. Okay, they were supposed to be due today. We didn't have school, so now you have the weekend to finish them off. I want them handed in at the start of class, not at the end of class, at the start of class. So then while you're taking your tests, I can grade your semester projects. So at the start of class, Monday, turn in your semester projects. Okay? Then we'll take the test. On Wednesday, we'll start reviewing for the semester test. Friday, we'll keep reviewing for the semester test. And then the following Tuesday, take the semester test. Okay? Any questions by anybody? All right. Since there's no questions, I think we're good to go. So, all right. We will talk at you later. Have a good weekend.